There you go.
Okay. Hey everybody, I'm Clay, I'm with Stryker. I'm going to do an in-service on the tower. First thing you want to do, you want to make sure that this button is on right here. This little guy, this is going to power the entire tower. And then once this is on, all these should be on. But one thing to make sure is that they are on, especially this little guy right here. This is your transmitter. This is what is going to shoot video from this tower over to this tower. But this camera has to run through this, so make sure that this is on before you get going. Ideally, everything's on if you're doing an arthroscopy case and you have the insufflator off, but otherwise you want everything to be on the tower. Okay, so first thing I'm going to go over is the hub right here. This is what's going to be recording and taking photos for you while you're doing your case. Right here in this top left corner is going to be your profiles. This is what it's going to look like when you turn on the hub. If you click this, we have different specialties, all the different things you would do. And so say you're gonna do a rotator cuff repair. I'm gonna pick arthroscopy, okay? Then I'm gonna push start case. From here, you can add your patient info if you want to, specialty, the procedure, the surgeon, all that stuff is up to you guys on what you wanna include in that. And then from here, you're gonna go over to the room setup. From there, okay, it's important to click this button right here. It'll put a drop-down menu and you want to click arthroscopy. It's important to do this because what we've done is we've set up settings for the entire tower. So when you click this and then you push apply presets in this bottom right-hand corner, it's going to set up the entire tower, the specific settings for your camera box, for your monitor, for your light source. It's basically going to set it up so when after you push that button, the whole tower will be ready to go. From here, you can move over to your capture screen. On this screen, you can take photos. So the surgeon is going to have control and he'll be able to take photos and do recording and all that stuff that he's used to doing. But if he wants you to capture a photo, you can do it simply by pushing this little camera button. You can also do it by pushing this little record button to take a video.
Digital capture recording.
And then stopping it to stop the video.
Capture error recording.
Now, once you're done with here and say the case is done, you're going to go over to your media section. From here, you can delete photos that you want to delete, okay, by deleting, there's a delete button there. You can also print the photos you want to print. This is set up to auto print. If you look right here in this bottom right-hand corner, this will tell you the printer setting that you have, okay? You also can push export, and from here, say they have a USB drive or a hard drive they want to connect to, they can do that by plugging it in right here. Once you're done with all this stuff, okay, you can go ahead and push end case. It'll ask you, it'll give you a reminder, if the photos haven't printed yet, it'll ask you, do you want to print these photos? You can say, I do want to print, or I don't want to print, and then you can say, end the case. If at any time you want to change the printer settings, you can. See in this little 3-stack right here, if you click that, and then go to this little gear icon, you can go to the printer. From here, you can change how many pages, how many copies, and the different orientations of that. And I can go through that with you guys during procedures. All right, that's pretty much the basics of this, okay? Remember to apply those presets. If you do that, you won't have any issues. The tower will be set up to go, and the surgeon will be happy. Down here, okay, we have the insufflator, okay? We have a bunch of different specialties that you can choose from. The most popular one is going to be this advanced flow. We found this one to have the greatest performance, so that's what we recommend. And if up on top of your up on your profiles, if you were to choose laparoscopy, and then you went to your room setup and applied your settings, it's actually going to set this up for you already, so you don't have to mess with it. You can see it went straight to advanced flow. We have our tubing right over here. If you look at it, pretty simple design. All you have to do is there's a little notch on the bottom, and there's a little notch right here. If you pop this in and push, you'll hear a click. Your tubing's ready to go. We have it in demo mode right now, so there's no CO2, but see right here, it's kind of grayed out. If you wanted to start insufflation, you just push start. You can control your pressure from over here and your flow from over here. If at any time you want to pop it out, there's a little eject button right there, just like on a DVD player. You click it, pops right out. These can only be used once, so if you were to use this and try to put it in again for another procedure, it won't let you. It'll tell you it's expired. That's the basics of that. Right down here, we have our transmitter. Why this is important. This is going to transmit this image that the doctor's seeing over to here onto the screen, onto your accessory monitor.
I have a question
Yes.
on the insufflator.
Yes.
So when the surgeon is ending up and suturing and he wants the pressure to go down, it's just a simple button to press?
Yes. So if you wanted to decrease your pressure right here, this little pressure thing, you just click that and it would decrease your pressure.
There's not an on-off, you know?
Oh,
you know how
yes.
there's a start, so there's a stop to where
Yeah. So yeah, if you ever wanted to stop it, this little start button, as soon as you push that, will change to stop. And when you
Perfect.
click that, it'll stop it.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Also, one other thing to note, this little bottle right here, this is gonna be green. It's gonna show you how full your tank actually is. So once it gets down to the red, it'll start giving you warnings. And it'll get to the point where it'll start telling you, hey, you need to change the tank. And then once it says change the tank, that's when you switch to your next tank. Okay? Okay. Now to the transmitter. Right here, you have this little tab, right? If you pull this tab out, okay? Actually, I'm gonna push it one more time to reset it. So if I pulled this out and I popped it up here on the side, this is gonna turn green. Here in a sec, you're gonna hear a sound. Hear that? One thing to make sure that's important is make sure that this is on. If you unplug this from the wall, it'll never shut off, but if you're not getting an image, check that to make sure it's on. And then your image will pop up on the screen. There's not much on here, so I'll actually plug that camera in here in a sec to show you guys that. Next, below this, you have your camera box. Okay? This is what you're gonna plug your camera into. It's right over here. This is your camera. If you ever worked with Stryker stuff, it's very similar. This is what it looks like. We take our camera, there's a little arrow right there. If you line it up on this little red dot, it'll go right in, nice and easy. And then if you look at the screen, this is what it's gonna show. It's gonna show your image. It says to white balance. I wanna talk about the light box real quick, and then we'll go to the white balance. So this is what you throw off the field, right? You toss the camera end off, you hold on to this, and then over on the light cord, right over here, this would come coiled. But you have two different ends. You have a black end and you have a green end. If you look closely on this black end, there's actually a little light bulb icon. And if you look closely at the green end, there's actually a little scope icon. This is what you throw off, so just remember to throw off the black and keep the green. So you throw this off, your light box, which is right down here, okay, you're gonna pop it in just like this. Just push, you'll see this little ring light up around it. Now one thing to note is that if this didn't get taken out properly, this might be closed. So make sure when you're putting it in, if you're having troubles, that this is all the way open. You won't be able to move it when it's all the way open. But when you push, it'll snap on, it'll have a little ring around it, and that means it's seated well. Okay, this, interesting about this is a auto light cord. So this will not turn on unless it's connected to a scope. It's kind of a safety thing. But if you look right over here at our scope, this is how it'll come. This is a laparoscope. It's 5.4 millimeters, 0 degrees. This right here, if you push this little tab, it'll just slide right in there and connect. And then to connect your light cord, it'll come with adapter. This adapter, if you look at the threads this way, it'll screw on to the scope just like that. And then this will actually, it's magnetic. Give it a little push, it'll pop right in. From here, the light cable will be able to turn on. If it ever becomes disconnected, the light will shut off automatically. Okay? Now, you've thrown everything off, you have our scope, it's ready to turn on, it's ready to get it prepped for surgery. If you look up at the screen, it'll give you instructions on what you'll need to do next. If you see right here, it says white balance, and it'll tell you what button to push. You look on the scope, it'll tell you see that button's right there, and that's what's gonna cause the white balance to happen. One thing to note, nothing will work until you white balance it. It forces you to white balance first. So you'll want to point at a lap cloth or something white. Try to make it as white as possible and try to make sure there's not stuff hanging off the screen. So I'm going to put it right in this corner, this white corner. I'm going to click that button.
Camera white balance complete.
It'll give you a verbal and a written thing that said it's complete. You can see our lights on right now, okay? And I also want to show, I'm going to point the camera at you just for a sec to show the light. If I ever pull this out, it comes off. If I ever put it on, I have to turn it back on. Now, a couple different ways to turn on the camera. If you look down here, okay, this right here is for your light box, this is what your light cable is connected to. If you ever push this, okay, and hold it for a second, it'll shut off. If you ever push it and hold it for another second, it'll pop on. The reason it has that delay is just in case someone bumps it during a case. So just remember, if you're having trouble turning it on or off, that you have to hold it for a second, okay? Another way to shut off the light, if you're ever, you're done with the case or you're having a break with the scope, is if you hold this little button right down here. If you hold that down, it's gonna turn here. I'll shine at the screen so you can see. This is gonna pop the light on. If you hold it down again, it's gonna pop it off, okay? Again, if the surgeon's ever asking you to take photos during a case, right here, this little camera button, that's what's gonna take photos for you, and you can hear it when I click it. It's gonna beep, okay? And if you hold it down, that'll start a video. If you hold it down again, that'll start another video. Turn the brightness down, click the button, short little presses. Turn the brightness up, click the top button, short little presses. If you hold the top button as well, that'll also shut off the camera. Shut off the light. All right, that's the gist of this, okay? So I'm gonna set this down. Okay, one thing to note, so you can see here now that our accessory monitor is actually working, all right? A couple things that could go wrong that we've seen in the past with these towers. That's the gist of what the in-service is about. But make sure that you apply those settings. Make sure that this transmitter is on. If it's off, it's such a small thing to miss, but if it's off, it's not going to show you an image. So make sure it's on, and make sure your light cable is seated correctly. Otherwise, it won't turn on. And that is it for this in-service. You have any questions, Chloe?
I do. I've seen other light sources in the past for other products. There's a little toggle for how you insert it. So is this some kind of universal, or would we have to?
This is universal. So anything that has,
and that's the.
In this case, this could even extend out a
right.
lot. Yeah. If you put it in and make sure it's seated straight, it'll pop. Now, one thing to note is if you're using like a Stores light cable and it has a really
yes.
long, skinny piece, if you seat it in sideways, this light won't light up. Okay. If you get that ring, you're good to go. So that's your guarantee that you're going to get light going through there. But do try with those skinny ones to make sure it's nice and straight. If you start going sideways, it can mess with some of the springs in there. I've seen that happen before. Any other questions?
Do you mind unloading this? Do you just press
yes.
the same?
Yeah, so lights off right now, right? If I wanted to unload this, just pull, pops right out, okay? Take off my adapter like that, and then I push this tab, float my camera out.
Perfect.
Yep. And then, one other thing, we can talk about the scopes real fast too. Right over here, we have a couple different types of scopes you're gonna be dealing with. This is your basic lap scope. We have a 5.0 and a 5.30.